Hey guys, Dante here, and welcome back to my channel, The Burgles Art. And we're here with the next review, Episode 7, Samurai Jack. So Season 5, Episode 7. And the best way to describe this episode would be tonal whiplash. I mean, basically, as stated in previous reviews, Samurai Jack has this kind of weird sense of action, then comedy, then silence, then comedy. It just kind of goes back and forth with tone. But if there's anything that truly makes your head spin, it is this episode. So what's the layout? Jack recounts how he lost his sword. Now in all flashbacks, the sword is always lost on this pit with this green glow all around him, this mysterious aura, and everyone was making all these assumptions based on the atmosphere shown in that scene. We find out that aura is really just flashback mode. It happens in the middle of the day, sun is shining. It's just really how he envisioned it. So let's start off with initial reaction. Tonal whiplash. You find yourself just going, what the heck, as it bounces between immense action and immense calm, but done funny as well, because you have these moments where like the action gets cut at an inappropriate moment. It's not like an action scene ends and then it shows the calm. It's like mid scream, this guy like, oh, and then it cuts to like whatever the next scene is. But it's done so well. The action is so amazingly, insanely over the top, and the calm is so carefully put together, like a beautiful puzzle or painting, that even though you find yourself bouncing back and forth, you love the two parts of it. So initial reaction is just, they still do a very good job in their own strange way, which is Samurai Jack. As always, Samurai Jack has its own tone, its own pacing, and it still works. So that's the initial reaction. Once again, as always, good episode. Details. So Jack recounts when he loses his sword. Basically, Jack finds a time portal as he climbs up this really, really tall mountain, followed by these three cute as heck little innocent baby goats. These little baby goats just follow him up the mountain, and he leaps into the portal. Like, he doesn't wait, he just jumps right into the portal. Pretty much the reaction we all would have, like, just go. He goes into the portal. He's in the time portal, traveling through that beautiful black and white twirling animation you had from his original time portal that sent him to the distant future. And Aku snatches him and pulls him out, and he's just like, ooh, that was a close one, and blows up the portal. Like, it hurts more because Jack is literally going through time when Aku snatches him. If you've never seen how close he's come before, this is the closest he's ever come to actually succeeding. Aku pulls him out, laughs at him, laser beams, blows up the portal, destroys it, leaving this chasm. And Jack just goes into a flat out rage, just complete blind rage, swinging at Aku, and Aku's keeping his distance because Aku's not dumb. He's just keeping his distance, and he's laughing because he's like, well, you know, you can't catch me, and by the way, that's the last time portal in existence, not on Earth. He says in existence is the last time portal. And then before he leaves, Aku turns the three little goats into these monstrous bulls, and in his pure rage, Jack just decimates them. Like, he just stabs his blade into each one of them, and then they change back into the baby goats, these little innocent creatures. And it is during this chaos of his rage and them changing back and his complete broken soul and what he's just done, that the sword slips out of his hand and falls down the crater. And that's the flashback. When he reaches for the sword, it is falling down what was originally this time portal. Flashback to present day, and he explains to Ashi that I've looked for the sword, and the two of them look together for the sword, and it's not there. And he explains to her, I understand. I did not lose the sword. It left me. Which is a great... It's a great setup. Excalibur. When King Arthur swings Excalibur in rage against Lancelot, the sword shatters. It breaks. The Sword of Omens. When Lionel in the original series, the very first series, the first time he goes to use his sword, he goes to hunt a deer for sport. And the sword flies out of his hand and indents in the ground and he can't lift it. It becomes like Thor's hammer. And he's told by his mentor, the sword can never be used to harm the innocent. It's this comparison you've seen before in other mythologies and cartoons and movies, etc. That basically Jack was no longer worthy to carry the sword. His rage led him to harm these little innocent creatures, these little animals, they're goats. Not even like a person, just these creatures that had no reason to be hurt. And the sword left him. So he goes on a vision quest. He goes, actually, take a squat, sit down. I'm going to go on a vision quest. And right here we have the juxtaposition. Jack is traveling through literally, he's like on a raft through space and time and the clouds and the oceans and the fields. Just these silent stretches of moments of him traveling. Meanwhile, all sliced up in between that, Ashi comes across this giant army, this massive, it travels for miles, coming down from the evil temple of Sauron and all of that kind of long army of these orc-like creatures. So all have spears, black armor, they're like covered in warts. And basically she says, for lack of a better word, I'm gonna kick your ass. I'm gonna kick your entire army's ass. Bring it. And that's what it is. She has to watch over him as he's in a meditative state, and you jump back and forth. Now, Ashi, unlike Jack, has always been trained to kill. Always. She has no real reservation against that. Jack, well, you see in him, he had to go through this whole arc of accepting the fact that there are people who will not stop until they're dead. But it doesn't mean he has to kill them, but he has to be ready to kill. That's the difference. He doesn't have to kill people, but he has to be ready to kill people. Ashi, she goes in there, she upright punches the head guy, picks him up, and like a human shield, like a meat shield, pushes her way down the spiral of the mountain, knocking down hundreds of his men just off the mountain, just rages. She rages through them, and they're falling off. So you have to 1/3 of the army is being pushed off the mountain by this one woman, falling onto the other 2/3 who are holding spears, just getting skewered left and right. And of course, the other 2/3 don't know what's going on. They're back there, and and once again, a little comedy, as always. There's comedy put in the scenes. There's one guy in the back's like, "What was going on up there? Did he say something about a squirrel? A squirrel? What? Are we gonna eat?" He has no idea what's going on. So when they look up, you have Ashi leap through the spears. She comes down through the spears and just decimates. And once again, going back and forth between what she's doing and what Jack's doing. And primarily, as she's just killing these guys, like bloodied hand, and she's breaking people's arms off. She's breaking spears and throwing them and stabbing them through their faces. And she's just going at it. Jack is making tea. He finds this weird little monk guy, little Buddhist kind of guy. Got the big earlobes, got the third eye. And he makes tea. And this is something that shows a true artistic feel of the show. Because he doesn't just make tea. He makes tea as an art. I know nothing about making traditional Japanese tea. You know, which way do you put your chopsticks? That way you don't insult your host. I don't know any of that. But watching this, you can tell they did their research. Everything he does, the way he folds the napkins, the way he prepares the wooden bowl, the wooden spoon, the wooden little, it looks like a back scratcher, this little weird thing that he uses to pick up the tea leaves, everything is done with precision and respect. he has to be respectful and calm. And then Ashi goes ahead and just like punches the guy through the face so hard that his teeth just cave in. Like it just goes back and forth. It's a great setup. The entire episode is weird. You don't know how to feel because it goes back and forth, which is kind of like a weird thing for some people. Some people might not like it. I will say this though. This episode doesn't really have any major throwbacks to previous episodes. As far as I can tell, there's no real throwbacks to Hanna-Barbera like in previous episodes. But there is one thing. You feel the Powerpuff Girls in this. You have this scene where it's Ashi punching someone, then her kicking someone, then her jabbing someone, then her hitting someone in the face with the knee. Then again, the punch, the kick, the jab, the knee, and it goes back and forth, just like in Powerpuffs, where the Powerpuff Girls, where they'll just have this scene of them punching, kicking, drop kicking, punching, kicking, drop kicking, punching, kicking, drop kicking, over and over again. For like a split second, you get this. And I don't know about you guys, but when I saw this scene, I instantly said to myself, "Holy crap! This is Powerpuff Girls if they were adults, and yes, if it was more mature, because there is blood." She's getting her knuckles messed up. She's killing these people. She's going at these guys barehanded, an entire army barehanded. And she's using their spears against them. She's knocking them into each other. But it feels like Powerpuff Girls. Like the actual fight. And of course it does. Tartakovsky. Duh. Samurai Jack. Powerpuff Girls. Dexter's Lab. Duh. So, yeah, you have this juxtaposition back and forth. And Ashi's just wrecking people. And she pretty much kills the entire army. She kills like several thousand people by herself. Which shows, once again, how powerful she is. And I'm going to ride what I said last time in my my theories. I think by the end of the series, she might take Jack's place. If Jack dies fighting Aku, and doesn't go through time. Let's say Jack doesn't go through time, but stops Aku. But let's say he dies. Ashi, in my opinion, is the next person with the physical and mental and just spiritual strength to combat evil. She's not as pure as Jack. She'll kill anyone, but she has that strength that, like, she's second to Jack, in my opinion. Then this episode proves it. This episode proves she is second only to Jack, which is, I think, a major hint as to future events. But once again, theories for the future. So now comes the head point. Jack gives his tea to the little Buddhist guy. Little Buddhist guy drinks it. He says it tastes like trash. But he doesn't say it tastes like trash. He tells Jack that his tea is horrible. It has all the ingredients, but it lacks balance. Meanwhile, a single archer makes it to the tower, and Ashi, covered in blood, like just bloodied, runs up the tower, and suddenly she's not covered in blood. It's the one continuity thing that I didn't like, but covered in blood. Then she runs back up the tower, and an archer shoots an arrow at Jack, and she catches it. She gets, she smacks out the way, and it's her mother. I was waiting for this. Many of you were probably waiting for this. Her mother arrives. In the previous episodes, the mother tells Ashi, "You've always been distracted. You've always been weak." But whether or not that was her actually speaking to Ashi telepathically or magically, or just Ashi hearing it, we never knew. In this episode, we kind of get the fact that maybe it was just Ashi hearing it. Because she does say Ashi is distracted, but she says something else. When her mother arrives, she tells Ashi, "You've always been the strongest, but you've always been distracted. You've always had too many questions." By her own mother's right, Ashi is the strongest of all her sisters. But she questions too much. And now she gets angry, and now she basically calls her out and says, the Samurai Jack didn't kill my sisters. Cause her mother's like, "He killed your sisters. You can't do this. Well, why are you helping him?" She gives her a chance to kill Jack, and Ashi says no. And because Ashi says, "You killed my sisters. We were born to kill. Our destiny was set from the day you gave birth to us. It is your fault for your lies and making us what we were. Jack has made Ashi what she is now. Her mother made Ashi and her sisters what they were then. Which is why her sisters are dead. And it's a great, it's a great scene. It's a conflict that had to be, settled. So they're having a fight scene. Like, Ashi's mother drops her cloak, and they go head to head. You get this funny butt shot. Don't know why, but you get a really, really detailed butt shot of Ashi's mother for like a split second. She just turns and says, butt cheek. Just, butt cheek. Don't know why, but it's there. So for all the people who thought Ashi was thick, there's a guy out there on YouTube. Thick. He keeps saying that. Her mother, the hell. Anyway, fight scene. They're going at it, they're fighting with arrows. Ashi's using a horn from one of the goats that died. The baby goat, she grabs its horn and uses it to defend Jack, which is an odd touch, but a nice touch. Like the horn of this creature that Jack had killed is used to save his life. And while Ashi fights her mother, Jack fights himself. Once again, great parallel. Jack fights the angry Jack that we've been seeing in all these episodes. The Jack that says, maybe we should kill ourselves. Maybe we should kill, Ashi and her people. Maybe we should leave Ashi to die in the giant worm creature. Jack fights him. Verbally. We now know what this is. It is Jack's anger. His regret. This thing that's been following him is literally the creature born the day he lost his sword, and the reason he can't get it back. It is the imbalance in his body, in his mind, in his soul. And Jack says, you have blinded me on my path, but now I can see. And his eyes light up and he vaporizes that SOB. And of course, like any typical creature of darkness, evil Jack yells, you need me! And he's gone. And the little monk says, now you have balance. And he is visited by the three great spirits that gave Jack's father the sword, which are a god of Egyptian, a god of Norse mythology, I think it's Horus, Odin, and I do not know the last god's name. Please forgive me, everyone. I know it's a coach. Everyone knows. It's not Vishnu. If it is Vishnu, then yes, but probably not. But the three spirits, and they tell Jack, your father was worthy, and now you are. And they bequeath him his sword, and they bequeath him his freaking attire. He gets his gi back. He shaves. He's hair pinned up. He's clean. He's Jack 1.0 all over again. 1.0 plus. Let's put it that way. And as he gets that, Ashi kills her mom. Ashi's mother leaps for Jack, and she picks up her mother's arrow. Ashi picks up the arrow and tosses it and hits her mother through the midsection, mid-jump, and she falls off the cliff. Is she dead? We don't know. Most likely, but we can't be sure. I believe she's dead, given the fact that this has come kind of full circle. And Ashi collapses, because dude, she fought an entire army, and then her mom, so she collapses. And Jack awakens her. Jack awakens her, lifts her up, and she's surprised, and she's like, you got your sword back, and you got a haircut, and a shave. And he's like, yeah. Personal thing, I thought I feel if the hair and the beard stayed but were groomed, it would look really cool. But then again, this Samurai Jack, you know he's gonna lose that hair tie and it's gonna go all wild again. But yeah, the scruff is gone. And Ashi standing victorious, Jack standing victorious side by side. And Ashi says, now what? Just like in the last episode when she says, now what? He says, we find our sword. This time he says, we find Aku. Jack is ready. Jack is ready to go and find Aku. And Aku has no idea Jack is ready for him. No idea. So yeah. as I said, bit of a whiplash, but the scenes you get are freaking great. Man, I hope we get figurines for this. Even if it's like a little statuette. Man, I hope we get figurines for this, man. Raise your hands to everyone who wants figurines. I mean, if they could do Bruce Timm style, like accurate style and an articulated figurine. I have a Man Bat figurine of Bruce Timm. They could do Samurai Jack style. Anyway, love the episode. A little jarring here and there. Only one negative critique is that with all the way the pacing was, Jack's quiet moments, Ashi's wild moments, when Jack gets the sword, it just seems kind of fast. Like they just look at Jack and say, you are as good as your father. Here's a sword. Laser beams. Jack screams because the sword is made from him, just like his father. The sword is made from him. His soul. The sword of righteousness. It has his sword. And I feel if they had just a few seconds more, having a quiet moment of Ashi looking over the cliff of where her mother fell off. Like a quiet moment of her accepting that that final part of her life is gone, I think would have helped the pacing just a pinch. Either that or a slightly more, or either that or taking those few seconds to flush out when Jack gets his sword. It's just really quick. The gods show up, they give him his sword, they say he's ready, they give him his gi and he goes back. A few more seconds with the pacing. I felt that was rushed. It's a nitpick, but it's just me, especially for a show that does so well with its pacing, it did seem off. Maybe I'm alone on that. If not, type down below and say, I agree with you. Type down below, yeah, Ashi's mom had a nice butt. Type down below, holy sh, Ashi just killed everyone. Type whatever you want. Let me know what you think. So, theories for the future. Same as before, as I said, either Jack stays as king, either Jack kills Aku and dies himself, and Ashi takes over. Those are my two ideas. Jack and Aku die together, and Ashi takes the throne and rebuilds the earth. Or Jack slays Aku, and he takes the throne and, once again saves the earth. I don't think it's going back into the past. I really don't. That's my theory on that. We still got Scaramouche out there. Or Scaramouche? Jazz Robot. He's still out there. And as far as the Jazz Robot knows, Jack doesn't have his sword. Last time we saw old Scotty, he was floating in the ocean. Maybe lost at sea. I think he might come back and give Aku wrong information. He'll tell Aku Jack doesn't have his sword, and that just gives Jack the leg up. So we'll see what that happens. I still think he's going to come back. He's alive in the ocean. He didn't get eaten by a freaking shark. So he might come back and give false information, which will make everything better. And of course, as everyone's talking about, the Scotsmen, the Archers, the Woolies, the Rave kids, all these people are ready to help Jack when time comes. So we might still get a massive army attack at the end. Not just Jack versus Aku, but an army to help break through Aku's forces. Because in the flashback, after Aku destroys the portal, like I said, he's backstepping and laughing at Jack because he knows to keep his distance. Aku will not let Jack get near him. But with an army, maybe that'll be possible. Great episode. Strenuous episode, but great episode. And that's my opinion, guys. And if anyone else wants to draw, fan art of this, please draw the little goats. They deserve better. The little baby goats deserve a lot better. Draw some fan art. I'm going to draw some fan art when I get a chance. Anyway, guys. Once again, I am Dante. Like, favorite, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I'll be seeing you in the future. Later.